Hi guys, so I'll be doing my Chucky Season 2 review and I hope you enjoy. So I'll be starting by analysing each episode, like saying what I liked about it, saying what I disliked about it, and giving my ratings out of 10. Then when I'm at the end, I'm obviously going to give a seasonal review, like how I felt overall, so I hope you enjoy. So just to keep you up, so what happened from Season 1, Nika got her legs and arms decapitated, well chopped off by Tiffany. Andy is in a van, and the Tiffany doll, like, to keep him hostage. I have a gun to him. And Kyle, we don't know. I mean, we do, but spoilers until the episode. And yeah, and Jake, Lexi, and Devin are, well, dealing with trauma and everything right now. So let's get started with going through episode 1, what I liked and disliked. So starting with episode 1, so one thing I liked is Tiffany the doll in action. Like I like seeing Tiffany obviously holding Andy hostage and the doll being in action, like of use, but it did get wasted, unfortunately. But yeah. Another thing I liked about episode 1 is the Ghostface reference, like when Chucky's calling Jake. I felt like it was like kind of a nod to Scream, like Ghostface calling his victims and stuff. And he swore, but another thing I liked about episode 1 is the tension. I love how they build up tension, especially the scene where Jake, Devon, and Lexi, and like one of Lexi, Jake, Devon on call, and like Alan opens the door, that sequence, that tension, especially. Another thing I liked is the Bell Doll returning. Like, we got the Bell Doll back, kind of. Like, it was a nice reference. And the doll looked really good as well. Like, they did it really good. Okay, another thing I liked is Lexi's character. I felt like it was realistic for Lexi to go the path she went down this season. But obviously, trauma, so I don't blame her. But I do like her character. Okay, the last thing I liked about episode 1 is the explosion sequence. Like the one with the kid, like Chucky holding everyone hostage downstairs waiting for Lex to come down. That was really suspenseful and just, I liked it, okay? It was fun to see. Okay, another thing that I disliked about the episode, how Chucky looked. Chucky looked weird. Like, he doesn't look like the Chucky from Child's Play 1, 2, or 3. And then, so, like, Bride Chucky, and you see, like, how he moves or how he talks. It just looks weird, like, now. But it's not a major dislike. So. Another thing I dislike that got me confused is the Bride of Chucky being a movie. I generally thought Bride of Chucky wasn't canon anymore, and it really pissed me off. But they made a movie of it with starring Jennifer Tilly, which is confusing. That really confused me because I actually thought Bride of Chucky wasn't canon anymore. But next thing is I kind of like and dumb. Carolyn opened the door, like spoiler alert. I know she's evil, like pretending, but damn. Another thing I disliked is the Batman jokes. They got overused. Like, they got really annoying. And Chucky told him straight. So, yeah, I didn't really like the Batman jokes. They were okay at first, but they got overused. Another thing I disliked is it's understandable. I dislike not really any kills. That's understandable. I mean, this is episode 1, so there's not really going to be any kills, so that's understandable. But yeah, so my overall ratings out of 10 for episode 1 is 5 out of 10. It was a good build up because we got Lexi, Devon, and Jake going to the school because we know that's going to be the centered place everyone's going to be at. Not everyone, the kids. So I like the setup to this episode. It wasn't slow or fast paced, it was normal pace. So it was a good setup of the episode, but obviously got the dislikes and likes. And now episode 2. Okay, what I liked seeing Nika and Tiffany and their acting. Seeing Nika and Tiffany, yeah, good. Like I like to see where they're at the minute. Obviously, Nika is living with Tiffany because she's hostage in this lovely mansion she's at. But I love seeing Nika and Tiffany, and especially the acting. Like Fiona Dorff's acting as Chucky is just so good. And how has she not got an award? Fiona Dorff's just so good. Okay, another thing I like this Chuck Nika in action. Like, yeah, I thought we weren't really gonna get Chuck Nika, and we didn't really, obviously, because Tiffany prefers Nika now. But I liked how we got some of Chuck Nika. But yeah, another thing I liked is Nadine's introduction. I feel like she was introduced good. Like came off as a sweet, caring character, and yeah, I just loved her introduction to the show. Another thing I loved is Lexi's little badass moment to her bully, like the bully who she like says bullied her in the first episode, like ages ago, and I just love how she treats him. Like he deserves it. I mean, I know she treated people, but I know how she treated people badly, but she's not pretending to be nice. She's actually apologized, owned up to her mistakes. But Trevor, oh yeah, I think his name's Trevor. Yeah, his name's Trevor. It's just faking because he got sent now and he wants revenge, obviously. Because I would not want to be at that school. No offense, but okay. Another thing I liked is Chucky's movements. He looked really not looked, but the way he moved were really good. Like the animatronics just so good and stuff. So I like that. Another thing I liked is little Tiffany's kill, the good throat slit. That was really done well, like the practical. I don't know if it was practical. It looked kind of CGI or something. I don't know, but I like how they done that. And Tiffany, Tiffany just loves her throat slit, doesn't she? Another thing I liked is I'm interested in Chucky's plan. Like I want to know. It makes me want to know what he's planning because obviously Chucky's taking photos, and they obviously want to know why. I was also confused. I was like, why is Chucky taking photos? Like, I was actually like interested. I wanted to know what he's up to because last season I did not know what he's planning. I was shocked. Yeah, but another thing I liked about the episode is Nika plotting her escape. Obviously, she wants to get out of Tiffany's grasp and stuff. But I liked how she was working with Chucky. I felt like that was really smart because that's the only way she can escape. I know she doesn't want to work with Chucky, but she kind of has to. Plot her escape. I like that about the episode. Another thing I also liked about the episode is I like the setting, like the Catholic school, but it did kind of get boring because we were there for way too long. But I did like the setting; it was alright. Another positive I have is Tiffany reacting to Jennifer's movies. I felt like that was really funny and well, yeah, funny because Tiffany's obviously in Jennifer Tilly's body and she thinks she's Jennifer even though she isn't. It's just funny to see. And my last positive I have in this episode is Scout Chucky. I thought that was really smart of Chucky to do because obviously Scout Chucky's well taking pictures of the kids and letting the other Chuckies know what's going on, which is smart of Chucky to like send or do. Now on to the things I disliked. Um, this is not really a dislike. I just kind of a question, but how did the Tiffany doll head get in the bed? Like that confused me. Like Nika's all elbows, she can't really go anywhere because she got her arms and legs chopped off. So I was just confused by that. But it's not really a dislike. Another thing I disliked is well, not another thing. The thing I disliked is Chucky didn't really not really look scary. Like when he gives someone a heart attack, he literally looks yeah looks weird. He doesn't look scary. Like I said, Charles Way 1, 2, and 3, he looks scary, but he just looks cheesy and just weird. Um, yeah, another related to my other dislike, Chucky's look is just weird. Like I said in episode 1, but and my last thing I didn't really like about the episode is look the sister Elizabeth's death was a bit cheesy. Um, yeah. So, well, I did like her death, but it was cheesy, but funny and cool, and I like a nice reference to Charles Way 3. So overall, I give this episode like a 6 out of 10. It was better than episode 1 because we obviously got Tiffany and Nika in it, but yeah. On to episode 3. Okay, so the first thing I liked about episode 3 is the Chucky selfies. They were really funny. And I don't really like the comedic side of Chucky, but I don't mind a little bit of it. But the Chucky selfies are funny. Like when Jake's going through the selfies on Chucky's phone and he just sees them. Like my friend has the Chucky selfies as a wallpaper, which is really funny. But another thing I liked is the kills are better. The kills are getting progressively good until episode 4 goes in a little hole and then gets back out. But yeah, the kills are better, especially brutal as well. Another thing I liked is a little reference to Child's Play 1, where it's like Chucky wants to watch the 9 o'clock news, because that's what Chucky does say, and it's a nice callback to Child's Play. Okay, another thing, well, the last thing I liked about this episode really was Lexi and Nadine's friendship. Like, Lexi needs someone as her mom's kind of a bitch, and yeah, Nadine's just sweet and caring and will helping Lexi because she has a problem. But yeah, I like their friendship in episode 3. Okay, now on to the things I disliked about the episode. I didn't really like Good Chucky. It was really like stupid. Just because there's no Good Chucky. I didn't really like that. But yeah, another thing I disliked is we're stuck at the school the whole episode. Like we didn't even see Tiffany, Nika, or anyone, or Glenn and Glenda because we got their reveal at the end of episode 2. But yeah, next episode we're stuck at the whole school, which kind of annoyed me. But it makes up for that in episode 4. But another thing I disliked is Devin and Jake arguing. Like we don't need that. We have bigger things on. Like we have bigger things to like deal with, and they're arguing. Like it's not needed. Even though it's like a dynamic with their relationship, it's just not needed, in my opinion. Another thing I disliked is Buff Chucky. He's not really explained. Like, how is he buff? It didn't make sense. It's like really cheesy and just too comedic again. Like, but we don't need a buff Chucky. Chucky's already strong because of what he does. So I don't understand that. And I don't know how he got buff. That's not explained. Like, ever. Okay, my last thing I didn't like about this episode was Father Bruce is just annoying. Like, he only like follows rules he wants to as a religion and or Catholic, I mean. And he's like just annoying. Like we don't need him. But he does get progressively better in the season, so that's fine. So overall I give this episode a 3 out of 10. Episode 1 and 2 are better, but it's probably because we're stuck at the school the whole episode. We didn't see Tiffany or like Nico anymore. I know we didn't see them in episode 1, but episode 1 was a good build up and stuff. But yeah. Now on to episode 4. So the first thing I liked about episode 4 was the Chucky talk show, because obviously Chucky's not really in this episode because it's centered around Tiffany and family secrets. Because I found it smart how they added the Chucky talk show, because we barely got, well, yeah, Chucky in this episode, only Chucky from Nika, but yeah, it was smart for them to add a Chucky talk show, because Chucky has like, apparently he has to say $10 per episode or something. That was a contract. But yeah, it was smart to add the Chucky talk show, like more of Chucky. Another positive is Glenn and Glenda's return. Like, I was so intrigued by their characters from Cedar Chucky, but we never got that explained until like, well, just now. Like, it was over like 20, well, not, well, 19 like years since we've seen Glenn and Glenda, but we finally got them returning as humans. And yeah, I liked how we, well, got deep in with like what Glenn and Glenda's been up to. Like Glenda and Glenn are having nightmares about Joan's death when Glenda kind of burnt her. And there was like the reference when um Glenda Glenda's like to Tiffany, oh he called me shitface or something, and yeah, I don't Chucky didn't even call well them shitface. That was the where they came from and stuff. But I like Glenn and Glenda's return. It was good, and Glenn seems like the good one, and Glenda's kind of the evilish one. But yeah, okay. The next thing I liked is the camp in this episode was actually like a good thing. Right? I like the camp in this episode, how campy it was, because I love Tiffany, and she's just iconic. And I liked how we got a whole episode centered to her. Like we got owed that because we were stuck at the school the whole episode, which I really didn't like. But yeah. Nothing I liked is the bound cast, the cast. being in this episode. Like, I haven't watched Bound, but they were like the cast were like in this episode, and I thought that was really funny. Okay, another thing I liked is Tiffany's acting and Nika's, like especially Chuck Nika. Fiona Dorff's acting is just good, and Tiffany has always got good acting. Jennifer Lee portrays it so well. Another thing I liked is the murder mystery aspect. Like, I liked how Tiffany turned because the butler got killed. I liked how she turned that into a murder mystery little party. She's like, "Oh, you know how Glenn and Glenda love a murder mystery." Like, it's just funny. I like the aspect of it. Another thing I liked is I like how Glenda and Chucky as Nico interacted. Like, Glenda obviously acts like they stabbed themselves, and Nico transforms into Chucky, and I like how Chucky's trying to get Glenda's evilness out and stuff. But I like their interaction, but even though it's a flashback. Okay, next thing I liked is Nika finally escaping. Like, I thought she would escape like episode 8. I thought she'd be at that mansion like all season, but no, she escapes in episode 4. And I also liked how Kyle returned, and I find it nice how she's helping Nika, like get Chucky out of her. But yeah, another positive is all Glenda having killer urges. I feel like that's really consistent from Seed because Glenda did kill Joan. So it is kind of consistent with Glenda, and as Glenda is a sweet one, and Glenda is a well evil-ish one, and Glenda a nice one. So yeah, that's consistent of Glenda's character. Okay, my last thing I liked is the action. I really like the action in this episode, even though it was really campy. I like the action, like the guns in this episode, the well, the kills obviously, the action, just the action, like Nika escaping and everything, like that kind of action. That was really good as well. So that's like all my positives for episode 4. So now on to the dislikes. My first dislike is the twins don't remember anything from City Chucky. I thought that was really dumb, even though they were in new bodies. But and they obviously think Jennifer Tilly's their mom, not Tiffany, which I didn't really like. But oh well. Another thing I disliked is the comedy. I know I said I liked some of the comedy, but it got kind of over the top. But I liked some of the comedy, just not when it went overboard. Okay, my last negative is the kills are not as good. This is where I talked about where just when the kills went in a little hole and got back up after the episode, but I didn't really like the kills. Even I didn't really want because this episode's really about the unpacking family secrets, so it's understandable. So it's not really that big of a dislike. So overall, I give this episode a 7 out of 10. I feel like it's better than episode 1, 2, and 3, obviously. Because obviously prefer, well, Tiffany and everyone, Nika and Lexi characters over the newer cast, in my opinion. But this episode was good, a 7 out of 10. And now on to episode 5. And, well, the first thing I liked about episode 5 was them hinting, well, Chucky faking him being good. I wish they went with that route, because, spoiler alert, he was actually good, because Don Mancini confirmed that. But I actually wish Chucky was faking it, because it would be smart because he's a scout. He would fake being good just to spy on the children and get back to the other Chuckies. I feel like that would have been much smarter and better, but we just went with whatever went. Another thing I liked is Nadine and Lexi's friendship. Like, Nadine's just so sweet and caring, and that's what Lexi needs, because her mother's just a bitch, so, and doesn't really care about her, so I like their friendship. And yeah, like how Lexi had a little powerful moment throwing, you know what, away into the toilets, and yeah, Nadine and Lexi's friendship's just really good this season. Another thing I liked is we got more of Glenn and Tiffany, even though Glenda, Nico, and Kyle went in this episode. We got Glenn and Tiffany, which I liked, and we also had Meg Tilly back, which is good because I thought they were just going to bin off all the characters from episode 4, but at least Meg returned because Meg did get suspicious of Tiffany, well, Jennifer Tilly, because she thinks, well, she's just suspicious that she's back, so I liked how we got more on Glenn, and Glenn's obviously having nightmares and texts Glenda about it. And obviously, yeah. I think they have it every night or something, but I also like Sister Catherine. She's a really nice character. She's the nicest character. nicest sister and like nicest person in the Catholic school. Like she's sticking up for Devin while like the others are just talking bad about him or saying he needs to like be somewhere else. But Sister Catherine's nice. My next positive is Jennifer Tilly revealed as Tiffany, the Tiffany doll from Seed. Because when Tiffany switched her body with Jennifer Tilly and Seed and Chucky, we didn't really see Jennifer Tilly as the doll, but now we do. And I also like the Tiffany doll's looks. Well, the Seed and Chucky doll looks like it has still that axe wound in the head when Chucky axed her in the head in Seed. That was consistent. And she just looks good. It doesn't look weird like Chucky does. It looks really good, in my opinion. Another thing that I found funny is Jennifer Tilly chucking Tiffany, like, about the brothers, and Meg's, like, saying us something. And, like, yeah, it was really funny to me, because Tiffany's realization of it was just priceless. And then Tiffany's obviously telling off Jennifer, saying, like, yeah, then they walk in, yeah, well, that unfolds. Another thing I liked is the Glendale returning. The Glendale looked really good, and apparently he had freckles and Seed, which I can't remember, but yeah, the Glendale looked really good, and I liked how it returned. Okay, another thing I liked is Andy being alive, obviously, because I wouldn't kill off Andy like that. But he's being tortured, unfortunately. Like, the legacy characters have it rough, kind of, this season, but they do get redemptions. Okay, like, another thing I liked is the music when Tiffany's burned down her house, and then, like, that plays with Glenn and everyone in the car. I did love that scene. It's just good. And then like, my last thing I liked is Jennifer. Oh, I already said this. Now, the first thing I disliked is the Chucky fight. That was really cheesy, and I don't really like buff Chucky or good Chucky even, and I just felt it was really stupid, in my opinion. Another thing I disliked is Devin and Jake arguing again. Like, we don't need that. We have bigger problems, so we don't need that, to be honest. Another thing I disliked is Tiffany. I kind of found this weird. Why did Tiffany have a weird obsession with Nika? Like, why did she just fall in love with Nika? Like, I thought she quoted, "Oh, love sets you free" or something, and now she's just trying to date Nika and stuff. It just confuses me how she fell in love with Nika in the first place. But it's not really a dislike. It's kind of like just a question. Another thing I disliked is Jake being dumb. Like, he's just really dumb. He really believes the good Chucky is good, but he is. But yeah, Devon obviously being a smart one doesn't think so. But I didn't like it. I didn't like Jake being dumb. But next thing I disliked is Bull Chucky. That was cheesy as, and yeah, I just didn't like Bull Chucky. I don't like Bull Chucky, Buff Chucky, or good Chucky. I don't like that side of Chucky. Hmm. Oh, another thing I could kind of dislike and like is Dr. Mixer being evil. Because she kind of gave me that evil. Because she kept literally giving, like, dolls away and shit. It's like, well, people she talks to. She gave me that vibe of being evil, and I was right. But that's not kind of a dislike. It's kind of a like and dislike. But overall, I give this episode a 4 out of 10. So, like, oh, episode 1 and 2 are obviously better than this episode, in my opinion. And episode 4, but episode 4, it's better than episode 3 at least. But now on to episode 6. So the first thing I liked about episode 6 was the backstory we got with Andy when he obviously drove off the hill with the Chucky dolls, and he got obviously kidnapped. I liked how we got a backstory of what actually happened to him, which is good. So yeah. Another thing I liked is Lexi's sass. Lexi's just badass in my opinion. And I liked her this season, and I did season 1, so that's a good thing. Another thing I liked is seeing Glenda, Nika, and Kyle. No, we didn't get Tiffany or Glenn in this episode, but we got Glenda, Nika, and Kyle, and I love their interactions. And obviously, Glenn texts Glenda and shows a picture of the Glenn doll. I thought they were going to do a face-to-face confrontation about it, but obviously not. But I do like how they all interacted, and Nika, as always, Fiona Dora doing a really brilliant acting. So I did like their interactions, and Kyle has a missing ear, from the explosion. I was like, how'd she get out there unscratched? But okay, another thing I liked is Glenda's evilness, like when Glenda's pointing the gun at Kyle. I liked Glenda's evilness, like Chucky just trying his best to get Glenda to be evil. Because Glenda is kind of evil, in my opinion. I don't know if this is a callback, but you know when the Chucky doll's hanging and he's dead and there's no arm, right? Isn't that the Cult of Chucky doll from Cult of Chucky, like the one with the missing arm? I always felt like that was it, but I don't know. I just thought people would notice it. Another thing I liked is Sister Ruth becoming evil. I feel like that's smart of her character because she thinks Buff Chucky's God. I like doing what he says, so I like how she's becoming evil. It makes sense. Another thing I liked is Andy being smart. Like, as soon as I thought he was gonna be better as like Laurie Strode, but no. He gets his scissors. He's already up with flesh coming out of his leg and stuff, and stabs the Colonel in the head and just dies. Yeah. So on to the things I disliked. A thing I didn't like about this episode was how bald Chucky became boss. Like, you know his accent. He didn't have that accent in episode 1. He just, yeah, I don't understand how he became the boss, like the Colonel. But okay. Another thing I disliked is how Dr. Mixter turned Chucky evil. Like, she claims he had innocence. Like, Chucky doesn't have innocence. That's what makes him Chucky, but apparently he has innocence, which really pissed me off. And she squeezed it out of him, apparently, which is annoying. Because I always thought he was evil. It just really bugged me about that. And another thing, Chucky having innocence is just no. Another thing I disliked is we got wasted of Buff and Bald Chucky. Like, Buff Chucky died to food, and then Bald Chucky died to scissors. Like, in Child's Play 1 and 2, you had to burn him, shoot his head off, shoot in the heart, dead. Melted, exploded, dead. Face chopped off, and fell into a fan thing, dead. But now it's like really easy to kill him, which is annoying. Like, he got stabbed in the head, he's dead. But okay. Another thing I disliked is Good Chucky actually being good, because Don Mancini confirmed Good Chucky was actually good, which really annoyed me. I actually thought he was faking it, and that was really, I was gonna put that on liked, but no, he was actually good. He just has bad Chucky still inside him, like Nika, but didn't like that at all. Wish they went with the thing I would prefer, and other people. Another thing I disliked is how, well, it's not really a dislike, it's kind of a question. How can Andy run around with his leg half eaten? But I guess they didn't want to do a Laurie Strode on him, so it's understandable. The last thing I disliked is Nadine's death. Like, why'd you kill her? She's the only person who was actually nice to like see and stuff, but yeah, you killed her off, unfortunately. So overall, I'll give this episode a 4 out of 10, same as episode 5. But yeah, okay, now on to episode 7. So the first thing I liked about episode 7 was the gang all together, like Nika, Kyle, Andy, Jake, Devon, Lexi, Glenda. So I liked how they all came together and was like all defeating Chucky. My next thing I liked is Tiffany and Glenn in the episode. Like, I liked how we got more of Glenn and Tiffany, because they went in episode 6, so I kind of mixed up for it. Like, then I don't think if they went in the episode, it wouldn't really matter, but I'm glad they did add them in. Okay, the next thing I liked is Kyle. Kyle was just so badass in this episode, well, the whole season, well, the whole Chucky franchise, but she was like pointing a gun at Dr. Mixter, that bitch, but I liked how badass she was. She's one of my favorite characters from the Chucky franchise, but yeah, I loved her being a badass in episode 7. But another thing I liked is Nika, Kyle, and Andy interacting. Like when Andy and Kyle were talking, and Nika comes in. I liked how they all interacted. Like, it makes sense. Like, they're also, well, legacy characters. I actually wanted them to interact, like Nika Andy, and I know they did, but Nika was Chuck Nika, so yeah, I liked how they all interacted. And like Kyle's like, this is like a Chucky support group meeting. That was like really funny. And I think I liked just the gang shot they also did, like near the end, like when they all stand like survivors of Chucky, like they all stand like it's a really cool shot. Also, another thing I liked is the brilliant kills. The kills in this episode were really good, and especially with Father Bruce when he explodes. Oh my god, that was brutal. I don't know how many times I replayed that, but mm, it was just brilliant kills. So, and with Sister Ruth. Another thing I liked is the doll movements. I liked, well, not how the doll looked like Chucky doll, but with the Tiffany doll, I liked how Tiffany moved and everything, and Chucky. Like, I don't know how they do it, but it's so cool. Another thing I liked is Evil Sister Ruth. This makes sense for her character. It makes sense for her character. So I liked her being evil. It was really good. That makes sense. It adds more of a plot to it. Another thing I liked is a little flashback to Child's Play 2, one of my favorite Chucky movie. And when Chucky, well, not Chucky, when Andy and Kyle are like leaving, it flashbacks to Child's Play 2, like when they leave the toy factory, which I really liked. Another thing I liked is the heartwarming moment between Lexi and Ghost Nadine. It was really heartwarming. It made Lexi actually quit this time, and she actually did and went to therapy and everything, so I did like that. Because Nadine's actually really good to Lexi, so yeah. And I think I liked is Glenda and Chucky interacting again. Like, Chucky's just convincing Glenn to be a killer, like, tell them where the knife is, and Glenda's just like, no, no. And Glenda's eye starts kind of twitching, I think. But yeah, I like their interaction. Another thing I liked is Chucky's little sass, like, oh, I'm from Jersey and stuff. It's just really funny. And then when he headbutts Jake, like, that's funny too. Another thing I liked is the confessions. Like when they were confessed, I wish Kyle and Devon got a confession, but oh well, the rest did. But I liked the confessions; they're a really nice touch, and I love the filter and coloring, like of the scenes, like how it only showed red, but Nika's did only show blue. I don't know why, but yeah. I also like the end sequence of the episode, like when Andy like kills Chucky for good. Well, that's what we thought, but yeah, I did like the end. I did like the end sequence, but after finding out what I found out in episode 8, I didn't really like it. Okay, now onto dislikes. I didn't like the exorcism of Chucky. Like this is not the Exorcist movie, but I mean he is possessed, so it kind of makes sense. But I just didn't really like it. It felt Chucky to me. Nothing I disliked is the waste of Jennifer Tilly's character. Like she literally just got run over. And I noticed to have the bell doll from episode 1 come into play, but it just wasted. Another thing I disliked is the rules. The random rules being created and just broken. It's just we need the rules just set and they're just kind of jumbled up all over the place in a minute. The other thing I disliked is Lexi back to the stuff, but now she's actually finally quit, but I wish well yeah, it's just kind of annoyed me because she had that powerful moment just for nothing really. But now she actually is quit, which is good. Another thing I disliked is, well, my last thing I disliked is Angel and Nadine. It was kind of cheesy, but I did like the scene. I just didn't like how we had a ghost Nadine. Even though I like seeing Nadine because Bella does a good job portraying Nadine. But overall, I give this episode 6.5 out of 10. It was okay. It was, well, yeah, a good episode 7, I guess. But now on to episode 8. The first thing I liked about episode 8 was Lexi and her mum actually being nice to each other for once. Like Lexi's mum actually turned nice, and that's when I thought she was gonna die because I was like, yeah, she's definitely dying after this moment and stuff. But I like that little moment between them two, at least they actually being nice to each other for once. Another thing I liked is Devin and Jake making up. Like they were arguing all season about Chucky, but now they actually made up. So that's another good thing. Another thing I liked is Santa Chucky, like Chucky with a little Santa hat on, really adorable and just funny, and obviously cheesy in a good way. But I did like Santa Chucky. with his chainsaw as well was really cool. Another thing, oh yeah, and yeah, his little tiny chainsaw was funny. Another thing I liked is the kills. I don't know if these kills are better in episode 7, but the chainsaw kill was just brutal and it reminded me of the Terrifier kill when the girl got chained or sword. Another thing I liked is Billy Boyd returning for the voice of Glenn. It confused me when Glenn and Glenda went into the doll, and then Billy Boyd's voice started appearing. I was like, why is that all of a sudden? But I did get kind of spoiled because I was watching like the first half of the episode, and his credit came on. I was like, oh, I know who that is. So I wish it was kind of secret and stuff. But I did like Billy Boyd returning for the voice of Glenn and Glenda. Another thing I liked is Caroline being evil. It was kind of, I don't know if it was hinted, but it seemed she gave off a little evil side. Don't know why. She just seemed like that creepy little girl from like the creepy girl from Sinister, who turns evil. But yeah, I did like Caroline becoming evil. It made sense to me, in my opinion. Another thing I liked is, well, Glenn and Glenda being whole again, because Glenda did mention in episode 4 that Glenda wasn't really whole, but now they're whole again because they're in one right soul in the body. But yeah, I did like that little touch and consistency. Another thing I liked is like Tiffany out like a doctor, which is funny, and then getting caught. Then yeah, that all plays out. Another thing I liked is Nika plotting her revenge. Like it makes sense, but it doesn't really match her character. Like she would have run away or something, but well, she can't run. Why did I say that? um, she's plotting revenge against Tiffany, but that makes sense because after what Tiffany did to her, like just dismembering her, like chopping off her legs and arms, makes sense. Another thing I liked is Miss Fairchild returning because I thought she was forgotten. I thought the writers forgot about her, but she returns, and I think if we get season 3, she'll probably foster the children. Why do I call them children? Kids. Um, yeah. Another thing I liked is the only one Chucky. Like I know it only lasted till like the end, but I liked how we only had one Chucky, not multiple Chuckies. Like that's what Chucky I like just one Chucky doll. But we only got that for a bit, but oh well. Another thing I liked is Tiffany and Chucky interacting. I know they did well, not really this season, only with Chuck Nika, but the doll Tiffany, no, the doll Chucky interacts with Tiffany, obviously at the house because Tiffany's at the house to get the Belle doll to transfer her soul into, and they interact and stuff, and I like that little moment. Another thing I liked is Tiffany getting tricked when Jake's under the covers and stuff and stabs Tiffany, and then Devon stabs Tiffany. I actually thought she was gonna die there, but no, for some reason like Andy, she just goes off like just bleeding out for some reason. But I found it smart how she was tricked. Another thing I liked is goth Tiffany, like the Bride of Chucky type Tiffany, with her black wig, the the black outfit. I just like the goth side of Tiffany more than the pinky side of Tiffany, but yeah, that's just me. Then the last thing I liked is Badass Lexi, like where she has like blood all over her, killing Chucky after he just killed her mum. I like that. Okay, the first thing I disliked was the flashbacks of the therapist. That wasn't needed. I hate the therapist. I hate the little therapist and Chucky storyline, how Dr. Mixter turned him evil. I hate that. Just hate it. Another thing I disliked is wasted Andy's big moment. Like I said in episode 7, when he's killing Chucky, like his big moment, that was just Dr. Mixter because Chucky switched souls with Dr. Mixter. That really annoyed me because it just wasted his big moment in my opinion. But yeah, another thing I disliked is Chucky Prime wasted. Like the Chucky doll from Colt that went into Nika, that went into the doll, just got wasted, like just died. The soul did, at least. And the last thing I disliked was Devon and Jake arguing again, like at the dinner table as well, in front of Lexi's mum and sister. Like that wasn't needed. Like, just no. I don't know why they included that. But overall, I give this episode a 6.5 out of 10. Like episode 7, and I was like, that's all, I guess. Now to my overall opinion about the whole season. So overall, what I did like about it was Tiffany, obviously, and Nika and Kyle and Andy, like legacy characters, were more in this season than they were last season, which I did like. Another thing I overall liked was um oh, let me see on my notes real quick. I also liked overall Lexi's character development and Father Bruce's character development, like oh yeah, and Sister Ruth's like how the characters developed throughout the season. I also overall liked Nadine. She was such sweet and caring, and she just dies. I swear, no characters from this season actually gonna make it to next season. I swear. But yeah, yeah. Another thing I overall liked was Fiona Doris acting. It's just so good. Betraying her dad, like she needs to earn a award or something because she does it so good. Another thing I liked overall was the kills. The kills were just brutal as obviously we went from episode 1 to episode 2, episode 3 getting decent kills, and episode 4 we kind of went down the hole. Got back out, episode 5, 6, 7, 8, got decent kills, especially episode 8. That got my favourite kill from the probably the whole franchise. But yeah, I overall like the kills. The kills were good in the season. Another thing I liked overall were being at like Tiffany's mansion. I liked her mansion being there, even though it was really campy, but I did like being there. Another thing I overall liked was Chucky's talk show. Like I think when he's at the fireplace, is that like his talk show? I don't know, but I like the talk show. It was smart to add talk show because yeah, Zen. Another thing I liked was I'm trying to find my notes. Not more than find where I put it because I wrote a lot of notes. Another thing I liked overall was, well, especially Lexi's powerful moment, like in episode 7, when she's actually gave up. That I feel like that was really powerful of her character. That obviously moved her character more, and she also she's going to therapy. I just love her character in the season. I can't say that much. Another thing I liked overall was Glenn and Glenda. Glenn and Glenda were portrayed by Lachlan, which is so good. Like they are so good. And I hate how Glenn and Glenda, like the bodies of them, are dead. Literally just dead, stone cold dead. I was really angry about that. Well, not angry, just sad, because Lachlan portrayed them so well. And we're never going to see the Glenn and Glenda as humans again. But I loved Glenn and Glenda. Glenn's the sweet one, Glenda was the evilish one. Loved it. Loved them both. So yeah, loved their characters. Next thing I liked overall was Jennifer. Well, the Tiffany doll looks like in the end of season 1 we saw Tiffany. She looked really weird. I just But in season 2, when she looks better, and the Chucky doll looks good too. So I like the Jennifer Tilly, well, Tiffany doll looks. Okay, so all my positives overall. Oh yeah, another thing I liked overall was not sister. I did like the Catholic school for a little bit, but we were there too long, and it got me bored. So yeah, I also another thing I like overall was if it's the callback from Cult of Chucky the doll hanger, I really love that. It's consistent. Like we got the burnt hand doll in season 1, and I wonder because it did really look like that. I need to double check. Okay, I think I'm on my negatives now. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Overall, another overall positive. I love the gang all together. Love that. Smart. Just I love them all together and just teaming and killing just against Chucky. It's really good. um. Oh yeah, another thing, the doll movements are really good. Like I like how they moved the doll, like the and the Tiffany doll and the Chucky doll. I like how they moved. They moved really good, and the animatronics are good. Okay. I love well, I, another positive. I love Brad Dourif. He's just so good as Chucky. Always. Like how old is he now? He still does the voice so good. Like he's just iconic. Okay, now on to dislikes. I didn't really like the look of Chucky. I'm sorry, but he looked weird. He didn't look like himself, in my opinion. Like season one, he was okay. He just looked weird in season two, but that's just my opinion. Another thing I disliked overall was the rules being broken. Like the rules are all over the place. Like, well, I don't get it. What rules are? We don't even have like simple rules, but okay. Oh well, we'll just have to deal with it. Hopefully they fix it in season three if there is one, which I do hope. Another thing I disliked overall was the wasted characters. Like we got Father Bruce wasted, Sister Ruth, Jennifer Tilly, character wasted, Nadine, Buff Chucky, Good Chucky, not Good Chucky. Well, Good Chucky, yeah, he's wasted, and Bald Chucky, the Colonel. Even though I didn't like him, but yeah, they were all wasted, and I hate how they wasted characters in this season. Another thing I disliked was Buff Chucky, Good Chucky, and Bald Chucky. They were really cheesy, and I just didn't like how they. I know it's smart. It's more. It was okay how they wanted to go for a change, but it didn't work out for me. It didn't work for me, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just me. Another thing I didn't like was the exorcism. Overall, I did not like the exorcism, but I liked the sass of Chucky then. But just the exorcism didn't feel Chucky, very Chucky to me. Okay, another thing I disliked was the twist in episode 8, the final. It was so stupid. Like, I liked it at first. I didn't mind it at first, but it was just so stupid and just dumb. Like, it gave me Saw. Like, you know, Saw 1 where he's laying on the floor and then he wakes up. It gave me that. But I didn't really like the twist. But I hope Jennifer Tilly's alive. Or Tiffany. Another thing I didn't really like overall was Devin and Jake arguing. We didn't need it. We just didn't need Jake and Devin arguing. It wasn't needed at all. But it probably added for a dynamic. Like it was probably added for like the dynamic of their relationship. Like what Chucky can do to like someone's relationship or something. But it really wasn't needed. Okay, another thing I didn't like was the Chucky fights. Like I didn't really like the Chucky fight and see Chucky. It looked weird and not Chucky, but. That's not really a big dislike. It's cool to see, but not really my cup of tea of Chucky. Another thing I didn't, another thing I didn't really like is Chucky doesn't really feel scary anymore. Like it's too comedic. And I know I've been saying lots of positives on the comedy, but I do like some of it, just not too much like comedic. Like Chucky's not really scary anymore. Like Curse of Chucky went back to the scary roots and it got slowly funny again. But I hope if there's a season 3, I hope like it goes back well scary and more Chucky as well. Because another positive dislike, I hate the multiple Chuckies. It's just not a huge fan. But yeah, I forgot to mention I also like the references in this season 2 because the references in Scream 5 were over like they literally just copied scenes. It kind of annoyed me. I forgot to mention that, but um yeah, I like the references. I feel like they were good. But that's my overall. So overall, I give season 2 probably a 5 out of 10. Like I half liked it and then a half disliked it, but I would want a season 3 because I do love Chucky, but I'll give it 5 out of 10 because why not? I would rewatch this season, but not as much. But it was good. It was good, half bad, like I said. But yeah. I do hope there is season 3 or another movie, or possibly, but I would rather have a season 3 because if we just go back to movies and explain it, it would really just trigger me because the the series would just be left. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to see more horror content, like more reviews, tier lists. I have a tier list coming up soon of ranking the Tiffany doll looks. I made it myself because I didn't have any. But yeah, watch out for that, and don't forget to, yeah, subscribe and comment what you think on the season. Like, do you like it? Do you hate it? Would you want to see season 3 if there is one? Like, stuff like that. But yeah, goodbye.